What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, coming at you with another Epic Collection review. This is Star Wars The Clone Wars, and this is Volume 2. This series takes place between Episodes 2 and Episodes 3. Volume 1 contained a hodgepodge of different stories, of different Jedi and things like that, but built up a small narrative of a Twi'lek Jedi who was not in the films very much, or if at all, and also this other Jedi who was spying on behalf of the Jedi and kind of was turning to the dark side a little bit, and everybody was kind of worried about that. This one actually starts off with a one-off story about a clone trooper and Mace Windu as they go through things. It's not the best art I've seen in the story, just kind of stiff stuff all the way around with some kind of odd choices in the coloring. And it was an okay story. It was just a battle in the Clone War. There wasn't a terrible amount to it. And it gets into a ongoing series. So this is the Star Wars Republic series. This starts with number 55, and it goes all the way up to 67 in a just contained run right here. And I actually prefer this because it actually has somewhat of a continuing story here. The first few issues have beautiful art by Brian Ching, and it involves a failed attempt at the Jedi for liberating a system from people who just feel like the Jedi are actually imposing upon them. And so it shows the horrors of war. A bunch of Jedi die in it. It looks like Obi-Wan gets captured and killed. And Anakin is actually forced to leave the conflict by the other Jedi and gets really upset about that. And it's a let's see, 58, so it's a 4-part story right here. Very well done. Eventually it gets back to where Anakin is, okay, and it does show this gal, Ventress, who is kind of the bad guy of this series, who, again, is not in the movies, but is in all these comic books, having captured what appears to be Obi-Wan when everybody thinks he's dead. It doesn't explicitly say it, but that's who it is. You find out later. We switch, and Anakin is now, let's see, we have a different artist, as you see, but we have some more Anakin adventures in the middle of this. Anakin is dealing with a situation, more violence as this goes along, and then we get back to Ventress tormenting a clone trooper and Obi-Wan to the story. And this has Tomas Giorello, who is one of my favorite artists, and you can see why. He has beautiful pencils which are just out of control, and the colors did a really good job on this also. Obi-Wan and this clone trooper escape, and they have a knockdown, drag-out battle. Look at the Giorello work on the spaceships and all that. Good stuff. And we get into some drama within the Senate, where Palpatine is consolidating power and people don't like it. And this is a pretty neat one. It actually stops a lot of the clone fighting for a while, and we learn, this is a different story at this point, we learn that Palpatine's trying to get these new emergency powers passed, and we get some political drama. I actually really liked this. I thought this was very interesting and a nice change of pace from the knockdown, drag-out sort of fights, which we get a little bit of, again, as Anakin's back in action. Obi-Wan is released, and here we go. So now we get back into this is the Jedi who was betraying everybody, as I mentioned in the last volume. And of course, we didn't get to see him for a few issues, but we're back to his story now, and he's doing some assassination work for Count Dooku, and he's trying to gain his trust. And so he is doing dark-side-ish things, but doing it on behalf of light, and he's trying to just gain Dooku's trust. And everybody kind of thinks he's turned, even his friends, but he is just trying to get in and figure out who the head Sith is, who is, of course, Palpatine, and figure that out. Back to Senate drama. Palpatine is manipulating things here, and I enjoy this art also. I don't know who did this art on this issue. Who did this one? Some very good art. Brandon Badeau? There we go. But lots of good art in the middle of this. This Republic series had very good art all the way around. Even though there's lots of different artists, you can see that they all have a very similar tone and style that feels very good. And is a part of this. Now we get to a two-parter Mace Windu story where Mace Windu, and here's our Twilight Gal, they just kind of show her just to, I guess, keep her going as a character, even though she doesn't have much to do with the issue. And Mace Windu brings down some Jedi on some bounty hunters who are hunting down Jedi at this point. And again, this is very good art too. Different art, but very good. All the same. And they stop the bounty hunters, and then they find the person kind of in charge of the bounty hunters and instead of them taking him down, actually that Jedi guy comes back who's working for Dooku, or kind of working for Dooku. Quinlan Vos, that's his name. I can never remember these names because they're all like Huka Duka or Karis Madav. You know, it's like they all have really silly names. But he actually kills the head of the bounty hunter, so it doesn't lead back to Dooku, and that's where the story ends. We get another one-off story. This is this has that detailed pencil work like that other stuff, but it's a lot less dynamic of art in this one. A lot more stiff, so I don't like it as much. This one has a Jedi who actually goes and sacrifices herself to blow up some droid stuff, and Anakin wants to save her, but he holds back and actually follows orders for once. And that's the end of the Republic story in this one. I think it does continue into Volume 3, which just came out as of this writing, or as of this video. And then we get a 4-part Darth Maul story where Darth Maul comes back. Turns out he is still alive, and he's got robot legs now, and he is on this weird planet where there's 3 suns, and the 3 suns are about to converge and kill everybody on the surface if they don't get to below, and Darth Maul fights off the Jedi and kills some people and disappears. So this was a pretty weak story to end the volume, even though it's as a 4-parter. You know, the art actually is, as you can tell, is just really not as good as the other stuff. Look at that face right there. And at the same time, the coloring's really not as good. The figures aren't as dynamic, and the storyline's actually not as dynamic as the other stuff either. So good news is, as you can tell, there's not a lot of dialogue, so you can really skim through this really fast. The Republic stories were great. This was mediocre, and actually the beginning of the story, where it was a random Star Wars Tales that didn't actually follow Star Wars Tales 22, was pretty mediocre also. And a couple extras at the end where it just gives the Dark Horse cover, because all of these were printed originally as Star Wars Clone Wars Dark Horse books, and then they just got reprinted by Marvel like this. So there you go. Overall, this was probably better than the last volume. I actually enjoyed the continuing plot line in here. I enjoyed the Senate hearings and the Obi-Wan plot where he was captured. So, but, you know, there was also some filler issues and things like that, which slowed things down. So this is just your average book. It was pretty fun, but it's also a pretty quick read. So I'd give it a 7 out of 10 overall, even though it did have one issue by my favorite artist, or one of my favorite artists, I should say. But that is the book. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you like these reviews, hit the like and subscribe button. I try to do as many Epic collections as I possibly can, and I have a playlist of Epic collection reviews that I've done. It's my goal eventually to do every Epic collection in one of these reviews. We'll see how long it'll take me to get there and if it's possible. But that's it. I will see you later, guys.